start na ko.
Okay, good evening. Engineer Turingan will be presenting his study entitled Assessment and Simulation of the Signalized Intersection at Mandub-Lapanday Road using VSIM technology.
So good evening. As what was said by Engineer Nobezada, I'm presenting my topic, Assessment and Simulation of the Signalized Intersection at Mandub-Lapanday Road using VSIM technology. So my presentation would encompass these topics for the results and discussion. First would be the project study area, or how I obtained the physical properties of the area. Second would be the traffic count for both vehicular and pedestrian traffic. Next would be the headway. And fourth would be the intersection performance evaluation using the manual method or the conventional method. And fifth would be the intersection performance evaluation using VSIM without altering the data gathered. Sixth would be the calibration in order to closely reflect the VSIM simulation's result with that of the conventional method. Then after the calibration, I would simulate the solutions in order to improve the intersection's performance by the use of pedestrian overpass, the adjusted signal timing, implementation of the UVVRP or the Unified Vehicle Volume Reduction Program, and the road widening. So about the project, the main objective of the project is evaluating the performance of the signalized intersection using both conventional methods and VSIM, then evaluating the possible solutions for the congestion using VSIM. So the project study area is the intersection connecting the Buhangin-Lapanday Road, the Mandub or Tigator Road, and the Davao City Diversion Road. So for the project study area, I was able to obtain a survey data from the Department of Public Works and Highways, but I also measured the road widths in order to confirm the width of the road using a laser measuring device. Then the slope of the western and eastern approaches were obtained based on the elevations of the cross sections that was obtained from the survey data, as this is necessary for the manual calculation of the level of service and the green time of the approaches of the intersection. So this is the survey data that I was able to obtain from the Department of Public Works and Highways. Then to confirm, I edited the road widths to that of what I found. So ang main purpose nito is, aside sa road width, yung radius of curve, turning radius, kasi mahirapan siya i-obtain. Then using the survey data obtained and the road width that I myself obtained, I was able to form this that would serve as the background for the VSIM. Then this is the cross section. I use this to get the slope by determining the difference between two stations, the start and the end, then dividing them by their length, their distance with each other. So this is the green time and yellow time rounded off to the nearest whole number. Then this is for the traffic count. Like in the proposal, it was supposed to be 4 weeks, but I emailed with the changes since it would require a lot of money and there is I don't have that much money, and it was confirmed, approved. So the traffic count, instead of going 4 weeks, only 3 weeks. Then for the first week, I was able to hire traffic counters, 24. The one written on the on the manuscript is from the leftover from the proposal. Then for the second and third week, I was able to rent a room in the Orange Grove, and I only hired two traffic counters for the northbound turning right and 2 traffic counters for the southbound turning left, and 2 pedestrian counters for the east and the west approach. So that para makatipid ako. Then this is my documentation for the hotel. So for the headway count, headway is the difference in time, the time between the bumper of the first vehicle reaches a point, then the bumper of the second vehicle reaches the same point. But the thing is, we have issues with this and counting this, since the one needed is the saturation flow rate, the equivalent hourly rate at which previously queued vehicles can traverse an intersection approach under prevailing conditions, assuming that the green signal is available at all times and no lost time. So, dapat continuous ang flow ng traffic. Ganun yung ano. Tapos, para makuha ang saturation headway, kailangan ng saturation headway para makuha ang saturation flow rate na nag-represent ng no lost times and continuous green time. One issue that I found is this: there are lanes that are being shared for those. For example, itong going south and going left, nag-share sila ng lane. Kung mas-stuck to si going south, si going left, hindi siya maka-move on. So, hindi na siya, gina-violate na niya itong na available to all times and no lost times. So, and meron pang mga issue dito na yung mga motor na nag-filtering and mahirap na siya i-capture accurately. So, ang in-instruct ko is, ang i-count lang nila is yung mga vehicles pag nag-flow na continuous. Kasi per definition, i-follow ko ito. Then, nakuha na yung headway. So, intersection performance evaluation. So, makita sa first week, ang pinakamalaking level of service is 284, which is on Wednesday. Kasi ang Monday and Tuesday niyan is holiday. Tapos, parang, I think it's supporting what I stated in my proposal a year or two ago, na pag sapit ng first day of work and school, dun tataas yung dun magkukumpulan. Pero same lang, pero hindi itong week na to, wala akong makita na correlation between sa last day. So start lang ng Then week 2, we have these results. Week 3 is one of the most, so week 3 may consistent sila na delay. So none of the level of service obtained using conventional method nakaabot ng 80 seconds. So, F sila. This shows that the arrival rate of the vehicles is more than what the intersection can handle, and lost F would denote that there is a constant traffic jam. So, sa simulation naman, the signalized intersection was then simulated using VSIM without altering the values obtained from the survey to see how close the values obtained from the conventional method and the simulations are. Sorry, typo. So, ito yung ongoing simulation. Tapos, based on the graph and the table, we can see na yung tumutugma lang, nagiging same lang sila pag mataas na daan yung conventional. Kasi halos lahat ng results sa VSIM is matataas. Almost always higher. So, after this dreaming simulations of solutions and actual data, I encountered a few problems that increase the time. There is a recurring bug in VSIM in which pedestrians and vehicles will stop moving, causing certain lanes traffic to be stuck. The workaround for this issue is restarting the simulation again. This causes delays in the research progress. Kasi ideally, ang VSIM, pag nag-simulate ka, pwede lang iwan. Tapos balikan na lang. Tapos, ito, we can see that may stuck yun in a while. Yan, na-stuck yung vehicle. So, hindi maka-move forward yung pedestrian. Hindi rin siya nag-move forward for some reason. Then, magkumpulan sila. Kasi ang how it works kasi, yung pedestrians, from here sila mag-spawn. The term spawn is, it appears, it starts existing. Then pag dumating sila sa point ng end nila, dun sila mawawala. Magdi-despawn sila. So hindi sila makadespawn, magkukumpulan ng traffic. Another issue I found is the vehicles, pag na-timingan sila na nakaapak sila sa signal na naging red, may stock sila. Ayan, na-stock na sila, hindi na sila nag-move. Kasi how it works din kasi ang traffic signal ng VSIM is para silang gate na may time. Instead na instructing drivers na pwede ka na mag-go, ginablock nila ang driver. As what can be seen here, mukha silang barrier, di ba? So, calibration of VSIM. VSIM was calibrated by decreasing the volume of vehicles until the loss obtained from the calibrated simulation is 5% of the loss obtained from the conventional method. So, pag-calibrate na ako, I made sure na yung low, kasi each day was simulated 5 times para meron siyang high and low. Yung lowest niya is lower than that of the calibrated result. Is lower than that of the conventional result. And highest niya is higher. Tapos dapat ang average nila ng 5 simulations is within 5%. So, ito, yung hindi siya umabot ng 5%. So, dito na yung basis ko na ano yung result niya pag nag-alter ako. So, dito na yung nag-save as na lang ako ng file ba. Ganyan siya. Closer na siya. Then, ito yung table showing how I decrease the volume of the vehicles as a whole para ma-achieve yung level of service na target ko. Then, I simulated other possible solutions. So, pedestrian overpass was simulated by changing the volume of the pedestrians to 0. Play ko pa. Ganyan. Wala ko siya. Parang ganyan lang siya, walang pedestrians na dumadaan. Tapos, makikita based sa result, konti lang ang nagbaba. An average of 21.68% decrease in level of service. Then, for the green time adjustment, I adjusted the green time and to see how green time would affect the level of service. So, play ko lang itong video. Same lang siya actually. Halos same lang. Ang result niya is an average of only 2.73% decrease in the level of service in the delay. So this suggests that altering the timing of the traffic signalization will not yield worthwhile results. Tsaka ang issue din is, if na-alter yung isa, let's say isang approach, mag-improve siya, pwede ma-apektuhan negatively yung ibang approach kasi priority na siya, ganun. So implementation of the UVVRP is simulated by decreasing the number of cars by 20%. Kasi ang UVVRP po kasi is, di ba, 10 digits ang possible na maging end sa plate number, 0123450999. Then, each weekday sa Manila, each day may 2 digits na bawal. So, essentially, dinidecrease yan 20% ang number of cars, assuming na evenly distributed ang plate numbers sa mga car. So, ganyan, i-play pa ba na ako? Pareho lang naman din. Play lang ako. We can see here pala, meron akong 5 simulations per solution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Itong 6 para lang sa video. And it has an average decrease of 8.53%. Then I tried implementing a road widening by increasing by adding an additional width of 3.35, which is the standard width ng isang lane sa approaches para meron silang dedicated na right turning lane. And not only that, I added pedestrian islands kasi since lalaki na yung intersections, tataas na yung crosswalk, and more time are needed by the pedestrians to cross the street. So, lalaki ang chance na hindi sila makaabot sa crossing within the time limit. So, meron silang pang-rest, mga pedestrian islands. So here, ganyan ang itsura na yan. You can also see again that the traffic signal serves as barriers. So far ay sa lahat ng simulation alone, ito yung pinakamalaking improvement. Kasi hindi na nag-share ang going straight and going right na roads. Tapos 47.36% improvement. Then I tried combining all of them. No pedestrian, implementation, decrease of 20% sa vehicles, widening, and adjusted green time. I have an average of 59.404%, which is only 11.68% better than road widening. And sa manuscript nasulat ko 12.4%, which is mali. Tapos halos wala sa kanila, halos konti lang pa rin talaga sa kanila ang umabot ng 80 seconds. So halos bagsak pa rin. So research summary, this is the graph showing the different degree of improvement caused by the different methods. Then for my conclusions, number 1, the go signal for the pedestrians on the northern approach happens at the same time the go signal for the vehicles going south turns on. This may be a compromise to minimize the effect of this particular pedestrian lane on the traffic road. Kasi yung pedestrian na go signal niya, kasabay niya yung lane mismo na nagka-contradict sa kanya. Pero yung lane na yon, yung going south, ipakita ko yan. Ang pedestrian kasi dito, sabay nga yung mga going south for some reason. So konti lang ang tawid dyan. Pero dalawang beses kasi go signal ang going south. So I think compromise yun para magamit nila yung pedestrian lane while also minimizing the effect on those going south na vehicles. Dalawang beses sila nag-go south. So second and fourth phase. The highest delay happened during the mornings of Wednesday to Fridays. This aligns with the fact that this is a work and school day. This is also supported by the lower delays during weekends and holidays. Pedestrians are allowed to cross, assuming that the only flow that they're disturbing is the right turning traffic. And none of the simulated solutions are adequate to enhance the intersection's performance to acceptable levels. Kasi kahit nga combine na nga sila, majority pa rin sa kanila, lampas ng 80 seconds. Tapos, from the highest to lowest, combination, which is 59.04%, widening would only lead to an improvement of 47.36%, pedestrian overpass would lead to an improvement of 21.68%, and the implementation of the UVVRP would lead to an improvement of 8.53%, and the adjustment of green time would only yield a 2.73% improvement. Altering the traffic signal's green time proved to be the least effective. This implies that the volume of the oncoming vehicles was not taken into account when this intersection was being designed. Also, as I said kanina, changes in the approach's green time would have an effect on another approach's green time. The low improvement of the UVVRP, which is 8.53%, implies that private vehicles have minimal impact on the intersection's performance, and the pedestrian's presence moderately impacts the intersection's performance. So, road widening is the most effective method in improving the intersection performance, but the average LOS is still 123.35 seconds, which is still above 80 seconds. Also, we see a lot of instances in which it can't complete the simulation due to the traffic flow being stuck. So parang nade-defeat yung purpose niya na bayaan mo na lang mag-simulate siya. Recommendations. The researcher arrived to the following recommendations. Feasibility studies is needed when pursuing road widening, since a lot of the establishment is in that area is commercial, so meaning malaki yung road right-of-way na allocation na kailangan. Tapos, signal timing adjustment is the least effective but is the cheapest method. So further studies should be done with the focus on this if kung gusto pa i-improve ang intersection. Tapos, implementation of UVVRP may be effective in terms of cost. This being combined with the adjusted signal phasing may have a favorable improvement. Tsaka also, yung pag in-implement kasi yung mga UVVRP like Metro Manila, hindi lang yung intersection ang na-decreasean ng 20% kasi citywide yung pag-implement niyan. Tapos, future similar studies should include other data such as behavior of vehicles, and future similar research should also take into account areas beyond the approach since these can affect the traffic flow of the approach. Pareho nung malapit siya sa public school, marami nagbaba dyan. So, nakaka-affect talaga sa queue length ng mga vehicles. Tapos, example is, sa behavior naman, lane changing, parking, and passenger drop-off. Tapos, number 6, jeepney-type vehicles should be classified further into traditional jeeps and multi-cab. Kasi yung standard na form, jeepney lang siya. Pero sa Davao kasi, I don't know with other city, pero alam ko sa Metro Manila, puro jeep nila is normal ang size, yung malalaki. Pero sa Davao, maraming multi-cab. So, dako na siya na factor to take into account. So, yun po. That is all.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Galingan. So,